Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and rogue matter. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture with the rogues who create it every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook.com/WeAreRogueMatter and YouTube.com/RogueMatter. It also gets transmitted onto Twitch and Twitter. Go look up We Are Rogue Matter and Rogue_Matter. It then gets packaged together into a wonderfully packaged podcast, which goes out to all the major podcasting apps.
No, failure. You used package twice.
That's why now double package
Very
right
bad.
there. That could be our. No, that's. I'm not even gonna go there with that.
Yeah,
joke.
don't do that. Don't.
You can go check it out on all major podcasting, where all major podcasts are distributed. Download the app because we're cool. We have an app, RogueMatter.com on iOS and Android. Go Rogue, join the movement. RogueMatter.com. I am your host, Michael Dolce, as always, joined by my cohort in crime, Mr. Lord of the Radio himself.
Yes.
Godwin.
Oh.
That's right. I just delayed the inevitable by another week.
You're the one who did it.
I know.
Not me.
I know.
The other time
if we could go back in time.
The other time does not count anymore.
If the time
now, but you know what? Now it's an act of subversion, though. That's an act of hostility.
It is.
When I did it, it was fine. Now, when you did it, it's an act of hostility. That's not
check this out. Check this out, though. I want to give you a little notice.
Check this out.
My mom thinks your banner is fantastic now. The blurred banner, she gives the thumbs up to it.
It's the same thing.
But it's blurred now. See, it's blurred. She says, oh, whatever Hassan did this time looks much better.
We're gonna have a conversation off air one day about your mom's obsession with my background.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna have a.
Well, sometimes your voice. She says you didn't sound good this week. She is a very, honest person. She'll tell you how she feels.
If she wants to be my agent.
Yeah, she would be a good agent.
For agent work.
She would be. She'd be like, you can do better.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got a great show tonight. We are jam-packed. There is so much content. We will get into as much as we possibly can for all of it. We got The Boys. We got Stranger Things. We got Obi Wan. We got Miss Marvel. It's too much content, and we'll get into why I think it's too much content and why I think it's got to go.
It's way too sexy.
It's way too much. We will also do a trailer Truth or Trash for Top Gun, which will be our Top Gun 2 review. Did it live up to the trailer? Is it truth or trash? But we're going to start first with, not an end. We're going to do first what we do every week. Rogue Matter presents, giving you the dirt on all the stuff that's happening on RogueMatter.com right now. Every Wednesday, first of all, I just want to let everybody know, everything is free. And we drop new content every single Wednesday. So I think it's a very important thing to burn into people's brain that you can literally, if you disagree with me that there's too much content in the world, then Rogue Matter is the place for you, because every Wednesday you're going to get new content, either podcasts, comic books, or ebooks. Sometimes all three, sometimes 2 out of 3. You'll always get our show because we have nothing else to do. And so we'll be there every Wednesday, but you're going to get other stuff like, for instance, Badass Babes, which is live now on the Rogue Matter app and RogueMatter.com. It's awesome. Brenda and Megan doing a fantastic job. It's not always a female guest, but they do talk about women's impact on entertainment. She's a Hollywood talent manager, and she runs a talent agency out there. So you're getting the inside scoop, inside questions on everything that's going on there. And they have phenomenal guests who are in and around the industry. So Badass Babes of Entertainment, go check it out now. Also dropping, because you get a double dose of me today, is Time Trader number 4. Dylan Sharp can rewind time whenever he wants to, goes to the stock market to cash in, discovers it's run by an Illuminati of people just like him. And in the last final issue of the miniseries, Dylan is up against the forces of evil, and he has to rely on the one person he never expected to save him in the end. So go check out Time Trader number 4. Again, totally free, and you can catch up on issues 1 through 3. Very proud of this piece. It's the latest thing I've done, and it's a lot of fun. Now, one of the things that we want to do on these segments, though, is to kind of give you what they call a comparable, right? So that's what they they do this in anytime you're pitching something or you're talking to something, talking to somebody, you give a comparable, right? You say, like, if you like this, then you'll like this. So it's this meets this, and it gives, paints a picture in people's heads. So I always used to say it's Groundhog Day meets Wolf of Wall Street, which, by the way, we learned it's Groundhog Day, not Groundhog's Day, even though I want to say Groundhog's Day, right? Don't you want to say Groundhog's Day?
I always said Groundhog's Day, but apparently I was wrong.
So the movie's Groundhog Day.
Yes, it's Groundhog Day. And the day itself is called Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I used to say Groundhog Day meets Wolf of Wall Street. And
okay. So your main character travels back in time and repeats the same day over and over and over again?
No, he has the ability to rewind time. So unlike Bill Murray, where he is trapped in the same day over and over again, Dylan Sharp can actually rewind time whenever he wants to. So, which I kind of like, right? So this is the inspiration for it. In all honesty, it wasn't these movies, but these are good comparables. You ever have like a bad job interview, or you ever have like a bad date? And you're like, oh man, if I could just redo it, like just snap my finger and redo it.
Yeah.
Like, and so I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool if you could have that as a power. And then I had to think about like, all right.
Ironically, right now I'm getting that feeling.
Yeah, I know, right? It feels like that. Feels like we're getting a second chance at a first impression.
Yes.
I thought to myself, I was like, well, all right, that's kind of cool. But then I was like, well, how do we, how do we challenge, like, every good story needs like a conflict and needs some sort of, impediments to goals. I was like, well, I don't know what I could really do with this, because if the guy could just rewind time whenever he wants to, he could basically just become rich, and then there's really no story there, So instead, I built this whole Illuminati around it that, we're controlling things around him, and everything he thinks he knows about things is not true. And so that's kind of where the inspiration came from. Out of those three movies, though, which movie?
You only mentioned two so far.
Oh, right. The third one's Limitless. So funny story with the Limitless thing. The reason I throw Limitless in is when I pitched this book to Rogue Matter, our CEO was having difficulty trying to like kind of grasp it, and I kind of said, well, it's like Limitless, because in a way it is it's like a journey into like corporate tycoonery, to use a phrase that you coined off air. And he's like, oh, I love Limitless. And everything about Limitless that he loves, I hate. Like everything he basically...
All the hallmarks that he appreciats. That
he's like, I really love that you never find out who's behind it. And I'm like, yeah, that frustrated the hell out of me. Like I'm watching Limitless. I'm like, that's terrible. Like I could do way better than Limitless.
How did you manage to spoil the movie twice for me? Because I actually forgot about the... All right. Okay. Because I haven't seen Limitless. That's the only one in your list that I have not seen, and now you've managed to ruin that movie. So I won't be seeing Limitless.
I would figure Limitless is a movie you would see.
I know, but ironically,
it's like right in your wheelhouse.
Ironically, no, I don't know why it's in my wheelhouse. It's even though I like Bradley Cooper or whatever, it's just one of those movies that never came up. But I've seen Wolf of Wall Street, and I certainly have seen Groundhog Day. But I saw Groundhog Day when I was a kid.
Yes.
So I mean, it's more ironic that I would have seen Wolf of Wall Street over Limitless there, but it happened. Nothing we could do about it. That's how it happened. That's how it worked out.
Wolf of Wall Street is more about just painting the tone of the movie.
Right.
The people's ascent.
For color. You added Wolf of Wall Street for color.
Yeah, creates a picture. That's what Comparable is all about.
Yes.
So
yes, indeed.
So
all right. So
that's Time Trader. I hope you guys check it out. Again, it's free. Check out those three films, because then you'll get you'll get the exact like feel for what I was going for with it a little bit. And again, totally new content every Wednesday. All right, when we come back, because we got so much to dive into, we've got, oh my God, we got The Boys, and we got Stranger Things, and Obi Wan.
Don't sound so depressed.
I should sound excited about this.
You
but
should be very excited about it.
No, when we come back,
be happy.
Our Rogue reaction and why there is too much content out there. When we come. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, frequency for all things pop culture. Go check out roguematter.com for all the cool stuff that we have out. New content drops every Wednesday for free. All right. We talked about this last segment. there's just so much stuff out there. There's so much stuff dropping. Now, part of it's kind of, I guess, what, COVID related, right? Like a lot of this stuff, you know, things like Top Gun.
Yeah, we're catching up. The industry's catching up. The industry is so now we're oversaturated a little bit, but I don't think that's a bad thing. That doesn't seem to me to be like a negative. I don't know why it's a negative.
But that's, you know, essentially how I kind of feel right now. I remember I was talking to Bevan, who is the co-host of the Seal of Fire podcast and the Tales of Tundo podcast, who's on the network. And we were just chatting, and I'm like, yeah, man, I got to watch. She was asking if I watched the latest Obi Wan, and I was like, I didn't get a chance to do that yet. I'll do that, you know, because we got the show, and, you know, and then we got the boys next week. She's like, no, the boys already dropped. I'm like, what do you mean the boys dropped? Like, just things just keep dropping like all at once. And a lot of it's
and you're upset about it. But you were upset like 2 years ago that the content was slowing down.
So I mean, upset.
Yeah, you were.
I was cool. You were upset the content was slowing.
No, you said so. You said so on air. I said we'll make up for it, and you were like, "Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do because everything's going away." That's exactly what you said, and that was a voice you used to say it. Huh?
It doesn't sound like me.
It was you. So that's exactly what you said.
Well, either way,
everybody believes me.
Rewind. I'll rewind time, and I'll go back to past me. I'll smack him in the face.
Trader to find out for us for certain.
What's that?
Get Time Trader to find out for us for certain.
Or we'll just look at the video. I mean, we have. But then that's too much time. I have no time to watch all this stuff and go back in time. You know, take my word for it. I was not upset. And if I was, I will smack past self in the face. And be like,
I'd like to see that though. So I do.
I don't know how that would happen
because I want to see that happen.
That'd be like if something came off camera and just like, like what was that? That was your future self.
That would be my favorite show that we've
pretty
ever
epic
done.
If we could do that.
Yes,
I would be pretty impressed.
I'd make sure that was happening all the time.
All right. Let's run through what we got here, but I got to tell you, I'm at a point too where kind of I don't know how I can get excited about the same thing over and over again, right? I think things like Stranger Things I enjoyed because it was you know, it's not it's not based on the comic book, it's an original thing. I get a little more excited for things like that. I get a little more excited for things like The Boys only because it's taking what we have as pre-established things and giving us a different spin on it, a different take. But in general, I don't know. I'm like I said, I look at all this stuff and I just kind of wonder, you know, at what point is the breaking point for all this content out there? To the point where, you know, what do I get? Articles like Netflix needs to be saved right now. You know, like people are actually contemplating that Netflix needs to be saved.
Nope, doesn't. I mean, look, if Netflix is the biggest game in town, if Netflix needs to be saved, then Amazon and HBO Max, all of the others need to be saved. So then streaming's over. Yay!
Right.
Streaming's over. We'll all get cable again and we'll be fine. We'll be happy.
I still have cable. I didn't cut. I never cut the cord.
All right, the other 80 million of us
gives me these other apps.
The other 80 million of us will get cable again, and then we'll all be happy.
No, but I'm saying, you know, when you have cable, you get like HBO Max for free. You get not for free, but I mean, if you're paying for HBO on cable, you get it. You know, you get the app as well too. You get all this, you know, you get ESPN. You get all, you know, all the stuff that you wouldn't get, you know, that you have to end up paying for. You know, you could use an account to do it, which is very handy. I got to be honest.
Metaphor, man. It was just a phrase. It was just. I don't know why you're diving deep into that, but all right. Okay.
So we did our Rogue reaction last week to Stranger Things. So we you know, go check out our episodes. They're on, you know, Spotify and Apple and YouTube and all that fun stuff. So I don't know if there's much more to add to it. Obviously we can be a little more spoiler-ish this week because I think at this point we've given people the requisite 2 weeks to you know, catch up and see what's going on with everything.
Right.
But I don't know. Is there anything extra to add to this that you can you know, think of that you didn't say last week? I mean, I overall like you know, I think.
Well, you were saying that it's already dead, right? It's already gone.
Well, I'm getting to that in the news cycle. Yeah, but the overall presentation of it, I was excited. Like I think they're firing on all cylinders again, which is great. They gave a shout out to you by doubling all the episodes, so you're getting double the amount of content. Essentially, you know, they did the Hassan Godwin special, and it wasn't boring, it wasn't dull, it wasn't, you know, it didn't drag on. So I mean, ultimately,
3 years though, but I mean, you know, it is what it is.
But you know what? But at least it delivered. Again, it delivered on the weight. If you're going to give me a weight, give me double the amount of content and make sure that double the amount of content is good.
So far, it's delivering. I mean, we haven't finished the season yet, so
Yeah.
we'll see how the season finishes off. But yeah, so far,
Yeah.
it's pretty strong content. So
Yeah.
far, I like it. You know, so far it's stuck with the characters. It progressed the story along.
Mhm.
There's some wonderful horror gruesomeness that that exists in there. It's a good thing. It's a good piece. I like it. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
And it's those episodes are substantial.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me substantial
You are not
content.
getting cheated.
No.
That's for sure.
That's the model that all streaming services should be following for the future, especially if they want to go from week to week. You know?
That's very true, right? I mean, I think unlike
longer content, longer form content. If you're gonna brag about 10-hour movies, but then you're gonna break them up, into 6 or 7 half-hour segments, then you're neutering your product at the onset. So at least give us 6, 2.5 hour or 6 hour and a half episodes.
Yeah.
And then, we'll call it long form entertainment, and then we'll move on, and we'll find equilibrium there.
But once again, Netflix is missing the boat because they dumped all 7 episodes or all 8 episodes all at once, and they're already out of the news cycle. The news cycle is now Miss Marvel. The news cycle's Obi Wan because it keeps coming out.
Yeah, but I don't think there's one. I think there's more than one news cycle because I've been seeing them. I've been seeing information about Stranger Things and the residuals about Stranger Things and articles about Stranger Things and the cast members and the the potential for season 5 and the predictions for the rest of season 4. I've seen that all over the place for the last 2 weeks. So I don't think it's disappeared. I don't know.
I would say this week I would literally say this week it's off the mark. Like it's out of the news cycle.
Still number 1 and it's still in the top 10 on Netflix. I mean, that's the engagement that they're hoping for, right?
Yeah.
So
well,
I mean,
that's because they need to be saved now, apparently.
You can't keep everything in headlines.
But that's what they're missing when they don't go week to week. I mean, Miss Marvel is going to trend. Obi-Wan's been trending every week. It's going to keep trending every week.
But as we will establish later, when we bring up another piece, social media is a lie. It's not a metric for engagement. Yeah. Nielsen ratings. With the Book of Boba Fett in the Nielsen ratings was number 1 in its slot the entire time it ran. Okay?
Yeah.
So is Strange New Worlds. So is Star Trek Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
So is Bridgerton, which nobody talks about. Bridgerton's still in the top 10.
Yeah.
That's the engagement that's real, that the people are actually watching it on a regular basis.
Yep.
Not that this kooky punditry is constantly talking about it and trending things back and forth about it.
Right.
It's nothing. Stranger Things turned Kate Bush's 35-year-old song into a number 1 hit again.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the engagement.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's a ton of articles about that, about the resurrection of, running up that hill and the return of Kate Bush. So that I would consider to be interaction, like tangible, monetarily significant interaction, as opposed to it's not on any cool news anymore.
Right. Well, but unfortunately, the people that greenlight the next things, right? That's an important thing.
We don't know that that's what they use as a metric.
Well, it's obvious they do, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. It's obvious that they get sucked into the lie of social media just as much as we can if we choose to. I mean,
if they do, then when they fall on their faces from it, it's well deserved.
Yeah,
we will explain.
Yeah. All right. Next thing out on the list. I don't know. What do you want to do? Boys or Miss Marvel? What do you think?
You talk about Miss Marvel. I don't talk about the boys. I've already litigated the boys over and over again.
Look, I know you think it's a one-trick pony, right? I mean, you've said this on numerous occasions. I don't disagree with you, but I like that trick. I like that it's a little different. I like that it's a little wild. I like it's a little out there.
If you want to talk about the boys, you be my guest. I don't really have anything to add to it. I think I saw the 3 episodes. It was exactly more of the same. After 20 episodes of that, I'm like, okay, is there going to be anything different? Are we going to advance the story anymore? we're finding out, information about everybody's past. And of course, everyone's past is an entangled web of lies and bigotry and sexism and hedonism and violence. What a surprise. So it's fine. If people are into that, that's cool. I don't happen to be into that on a regular basis. I don't mind those things at all, but I need something more. And unfortunately for me, and I've discovered, and this is a handicap I have, I will admit it. I don't expect anybody else to follow me on that. I have kind of a moral requirement. I need my characters to be morally upright to some extent, or have a moral compass. So that
right? And Jake...
no, I'm the one who decides whether or not they meet my moral standards, and most of the characters on The Voice do not. So that is the thing. But what I offer, since I'm rigid about it, is that I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna roast it on a regular basis, and then claim it's the destruction of Western civilization as we know it, like a lot of the other punditry does when they catch on to something that they don't like. It is what it is. It's well done. It's more of the same. It's got the same quality of the last 2 seasons. The first 3 episodes, and that's fine for people who like that. If you like that sort of thing, then you'll like that sort of thing. Let
me ask you a question. Aside from maybe renting a movie on Amazon Prime, is there any other series on Amazon Prime that you're regularly watching?
Yeah, Bosch, but I'm watching that. I'm watching that through another service on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
I'm also watching the Star Trek TV shows on Amazon. I watch Marvelous Miss...
like the old TV shows?
No, the new ones. I'm watching the Marvelous Miss Maisel on Amazon. Amazon hubs other streaming services.
Oh, okay.
So you can watch a lot of that stuff through Amazon. So I have CBS All Access.
Is that a hack?
No.
You cracking something? Did you have to crack something to get that? You have to show me how to do that, because I got to watch.
You know what you do? You go to Amazon.
It's too much effort, man.
All right,
you got to just show me.
Why
would I do that? You're a human Google. It's like, why would I do work when I could just ask you and you'll tell me how to do it?
You said I had to show you how to do it. I was about to show you how to do it.
Oh, good.
Now you're like, I don't want to know how to do it.
No, you kept telling me I had to go and do stuff. And it's like, All right, so go ahead. You go to Amazon.
You go to Amazon and you find out the service that you want to see your shows on. And then you pay them the $6 a month, and then they'll show it to you.
Why wouldn't you just download the app then for that other service?
You could, but Amazon's a hub so that you have a one-stop shopping.
I got all these other apps.
You got all the other apps, and you complain about all the rigmarole that it takes to wrangle them together. So here's a
I'm already down that path. I mean, I can't turn back.
Then don't, man. I don't know why it's a freaking thing. Anyway. And so Marvelous Miss Maisel I watch on Amazon. I watch Hannah on Amazon. I did watch the Jack Ryan show on Amazon. I watched a lot of stuff. And the Expanse, I haven't
seen anything on Amazon.
I watched the Expanse on Amazon. I very much enjoyed that. I still enjoy it. So yeah, there's plenty of stuff on Amazon that I watch.
My wife and I have movie nights together, and she got to choose, and she wanted to do White Chicks, which I'd never actually seen before. And I was probably better off not seeing. It was probably not the best use of our time.
I guess so.
It was all about spending time with my wife, though. That's all. That's what it mattered. That's what it came down to. But that's the last time I used Amazon. My point being is I barely, like, for Amazon Prime, which is, supposed to be a competing network, I feel like I'm watching way more Netflix and Disney. Like, Netflix and Disney Plus are the go-to two items. I have Hulu, and I barely watch Hulu also. And I'm told I should be watching more Hulu because it's great. And there's great stuff on it, but I just can't. I don't know, something about it. I can't get it. I feel like if I'm turning on anything streaming, it's Netflix or Disney Plus. Oh, no, or HBO Max. HBO Max, I think, for me is even, how would you rank it? How would you rank your apps? What would you put your apps in terms of watch list? Like, what do you think you're watching more of on which
I watch more YouTube than I watch any of the other apps, actually.
Isn't it ironic that YouTube basically gave up on original content, too? They basically announced they cut that whole division. Yeah. Like, no one's watching us.
I mean, they launched Cobra Kai, but everybody forgets it was on YouTube first.
Yeah.
But yeah, they gave it up, so it is what it is. I don't know. I have YouTube TV, so that kind of grandfathers in other services for me. Okay. So I watch a lot of YouTube or YouTube.
You go
TV.
YouTube One. What's the next platform in your queue that you end up going to more? You think
probably Amazon, because more of the
really?
shows that I watch on a regular basis are on Amazon.
This is what makes our show work, though, because you're the complete opposite. It's the complete opposite. Which is good. We got all our bases covered. Then we're multitasking.
Right. Yes, we are multitasking.
We are, right?
Yes, I totally feel as though I am multitasking right now. I feel extended, like I'm multitasking.
Talk about a comparable or a contrastable right now. The Boys drops the same time Miss Marvel drops. I can't think of two polar opposite vibes and feels than those two, right? I mean, I think we can safely agree on that.
When did Miss Marvel drop?
Today.
Boys was last week, so no, it's not the same time. They didn't drop the same.
Well, I mean, it's basically within the same, the same week, and then the Boys, the next episode drops on Friday. Yeah. So I got to tell you, I thought the actress was completely affable. I thought she was very magnetic. She had a very magnetic personality. She was very likable. I liked watching her journey. But overall, it was like an hour long, and I don't know. I kind of came away from it feeling like not really much happens in it, to be honest with you. The gauntlets, basically, if she put the gauntlets on as soon as the box gets delivered, the adventure could pick up from there. Now, obviously, I know there's a whole setup with the cosplay contest, and you're establishing the characters. I get it. You're establishing the characters. I found a lot of it could be watched off to the side, and just eventually we get to the end. Like eventually we get somewhere, but for an hour long, I don't know. It felt kind of like dragged on a little bit for me.
All right. Okay.
I'll continue watching, A, because we have this podcast, but B, I enjoyed her so much. She would be the reason I come back to the next episode. But the mystery of the gauntlets, because we basically got no explanation, we didn't get enough information in my mind to be teased by what this mystery could possibly be as to why these gauntlets can do all this other stuff. I just feel like, it's all right. But I'd watch it for her.
Okay. Sounds good. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good first episode. I think it established the characters really well, and it established the stakes. I think it's more important to establish your main character, because you're going to follow her. It's probably going to follow the standard fare of, superhero origin, where you're going to, discover you have a power, and then you're going to go through the throes of like misusing the power, and then realizing that you need to use that power responsibly, and then, blah, 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 you become a hero. So, I mean, as things go, I like the light and fluffy feeling to it. I like its kind of Scott Pilgrim energy that, that's pretty hard to achieve. So I like that, it's got that kind of quirky, spontaneous, pie in the face kind of quirk to it. And I'm enjoying it, so we'll see. But I mean, I'm not going to cast judgment on the show itself until I see a lot more of it, because it's only the first episode.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I can get into the show because of her, but I don't know if I can really. I'm just judging that one episode, and I'm like, unlike Stranger Things, which to me, I felt like every episode, while it was a lot of content, I mean, this was an hour long, so it fits right into your
thing. It's a comedy versus a drama versus a fantasy drama. Yeah. So I mean, it's completely all right.
It's wish fulfillment. I think about the 13-year-old girl.
Things that have nothing to do with, and then say that they didn't live up to it because they had nothing to do with the thing that you compared it to. I got you. I understand that. I'm with you.
I mean, I like I said, I will watch for her. Like I'm definitely into her.
I guess
journey.
The mission accomplished then for them, right? Because they cast the right person that makes you want to keep watching their show.
Big help. It's a big help for sure. All right, last on the docket, and then we'll get into a little news bite that I thought was just kind of amusing. Obi Wan Kenobi. Spoilers here. I did not watch today's episode because I chose to watch Ms. Marvel, so we would be in line for today. I don't know. The best way I can describe Obi-Wan is it feels like a comfortable pair of sweatpants. I like the Star Wars universe. I like Ewan McGregor from the prequels. He was the best part of the prequels. I'm enjoying it. It's nothing where I think part of the thing that I have about these Star Wars stories, because they take place intermittently between things, it's almost kind of like with Rogue One, to where and Black Widow actually also fits into this category a little bit too. We know what's going to end up happening, right? I mean, unless they really truly surprise us down the line, we know Obi-Wan survives, which, okay, that's a given anyway. It's the title of his show. He's the titular character, as they say. But ultimately, we know Darth Vader and Obi-Wan are going to have the showdown, and we already know the outcome. So I'm just kind of like, I enjoy it because I enjoy the character, I enjoy the world, but it's not necessarily like number one on my queue that I have to watch. Like I would watch, I got to tell you, I watch Barry on HBO, with more intensity than I do like the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah, in keeping with the trend of comparing one genre to another that has nothing to do with each other. Yes, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
I'm just talking about the content overload. Like there's so much stuff going on that if I have to choose between something. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I enjoy it. I put on the sweatpants, I kick back. It's comfortable. It's fine. I'm not taking that on a date. I'm not going out on the town in these pants, but they're comfortable. That's why I use the sweatpants analogy. It doesn't have to do anything. It doesn't have to be daring or bold, but it can't be. It literally can't be daring and bold in my mind because we already know what happens.
What do you watch shows for? Like, huh?
This show.
All right.
No, I would watch it and just kind of, I don't know what, I mean, what are you watching? What are you hoping to see out of? I know you don't hope for anything. You just want to take it all in as it comes, but like,
but I mean, like, I enjoy the genre, and I enjoy the character, and I enjoy the setting and the circumstances and the aesthetic. I enjoy adventure. I enjoy the swashbucklingness of it. So if they keep that up, I'm happy. But I mean, like, what are you trying to get out of it? Like, here's the thing. It's not a matter of judgment. Anybody, whatever you want, you're entitled to. If you're not getting it, then you're entitled to not want it or not like it. Right? That's fine. But just for the sake of conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of it is like, this is not blowing my skirt up. This is not doing this. Like, okay, well, fine. But I mean,
I want two things. I want it to resonate with me after the show is over, to the point where I'll give you Barry as a good example, right? The last episode of Barry.
Don't tell me spoilers about Barry.
I'm not going to tell you what it is.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. But what happened though is after it's over, I was thinking about it, like just thinking about it. And the next day I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, like that's what I want. I just want it to resonate with me to the point where I'm thinking about it when it's over.
Do you lend credence to the possibility that you're just not into that stuff? Because maybe that would be enough for you.
I think it has to do more than just put on a costume. Essentially, I think it has to. If you dress something up as Star Wars, no, that's enough to get me interested in it. But to really truly resonate with
Star Wars.
What's that?
You don't think Obi-Wan is Star Wars?
No, I think it is. My point is that you can't just dress up a show as Star Wars for me, and that is enough for me just to enjoy it. There's some people that are like, I don't care what it is, as long as it's Star Wars, I'll enjoy it. There are people out there that are like that.
So, okay, it is Star Wars, but it's just not Star Wars you're enjoying.
I am enjoying it. I'm merely saying that it needs to do more than just be Star Wars. There has to be more to it. Like Mandalorian, I enjoyed
than Star Wars in order for you to enjoy Star Wars.
Correct.
There has to be more Star Wars.
No, there has to be more substance to the story. There has to be more substance to like what I'm watching. And I'm not saying Obi-Wan doesn't have that. It does. Like it's a fun adventure. I like Ewan McGregor. I can't ever We've talked about this, off air before. I can never reconcile that it's Hayden Christensen in the Darth Vader costume, even though I know now it is actually Hayden Christensen in the Darth Vader costume for this series. I wonder if he's got to have a stunt double, right?
I don't know.
Or is he?
Maybe.
I think he's actually walking around in that.
Why wouldn't he?
Like, why would you?
Because he wants to be paid. He wants to be in the episode.
I think he would still be paid. I think he'd be paid for all the live action stuff he gets in there.
Well, it's not his voice, right?
Right.
So then what's the point of him not being in the suit and still being part of the show?
Isn't what's his face? The Mandalorian, doesn't he have like a body double that actually wears the costume?
But it's his voice. So he's still present.
Right. You got but you got those things where Obi Wan like looks, in again, not this episode. I haven't seen this episode. Pedro Pascal. That's it. Thank you, Aaron. Very, very, very helpful. There was in this past episode where he was on the cliff, and he sees, he sees the visions of Hayden Christensen out there, the visions of Anakin and things like that. That's where he's getting paid. He's getting paid for that. He's getting paid for that.
Background.
It's blurred. It worked out good.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know what that was? Do you know what that was? That was your internal reaction to what I said, manifesting itself.
Probably me like, man, whatever. Okay, so are you into it or not? Are you liking it or not?
I am.
Because your review is a little,
I am. I'm enjoying it like an old pair of sweatpants.
Okay.
It's comfortable.
All right.
Comfortable and feels good.
Huh?
It's comfortable and feels good. But
fair enough.
But on my queue, in my
Sports
queue
has
of
always been
things,
strong with me.
Where does it land in my queue?
That's like you add these extra criteria for it, right? The thing is just supposed to make you want to watch the next episode. You know? I don't understand these extra criteria about like, is this a momentous occasion? Well, you're taking a page out of a book and saying, does this book suck? I don't know if this book sucks or not. This book might suck. I think this book is kind of going to suck. And then you don't read the rest of the book, right? It's just a piece of something. It is not the whole of something. It's not judging a movie where you come out after 2 hours and you go, I didn't really enjoy that, you know, or I loved it. So I don't understand these mini criteria that people have on it, this mini goalposts. Like, okay, I'm going to take the whole season as a whole, and eventually. But right now, I'm going to put these micro requirements on each piece of paraphernalia I get from it. And if it doesn't meet that, I'm still going to rail against it, even if I overall enjoy it, or I'm having fun or I'm being entertained.
No, but I think ranking's a natural thing. Like, it's a natural thing to say. Like, if I had three things to watch all at once, which is what we have right now, which again speaks to the volume of content.
Yeah, but I mean, like, okay, I get that, but like, why? See, my own personal attitude is like, why complicate it with ranking? I'll watch it. I watch what I want. I watch and I don't watch what I don't want. It's pretty simple. And if I keep watching it, I've obviously enjoyed it. If I stop watching it, I obviously thought it sucked.
Yeah, but that happens too, right? I mean, there are definitely things that go out there where you're like, you lose interest in things. Now,
yeah, but has that happened yet?
It's again, if on a priority list, it's not the top of my priority list in terms of like, man, I have to, because I'm so engaged in what's going on.
Who cares about your priority list?
I do. This is my show.
But I'm saying you're reporting that as though that's a criteria. If we had previously established your priority list, and Megan and Aaron had a chart of your priority list as a graphic, and then we were like, okay, does this meet that? That's a segment. But if you're just going to throw in your priority list in the middle of us talking,
all right,
to create a talking
you
point,
just did it next week.
You do that
chart.
You do it.
Priority list.
You do it.
And we could do like a ranking. We could slide them up and down.
Check social media to see how engaged people are with your pie chart. Okay.
Very good segue into our last idea. It's too late, Aaron. Cat's out of the bag. More work's coming. It is the Mike Dolce priority chart that's coming next week. I like that, actually. That's a great
segment. I can't wait to blow that chart to pieces. It's going to be my favorite thing. It is absolutely
right now.
Be my new
Barry
favorite
is
thing.
on top of that chart, though. Barry is the one I've got to see.
Barry's
that's
got
the
nothing
one
to do with anything that we're talking about, though.
Yeah, but it's great.
Sure.
I want you to watch things that are great.
I don't see your chart, so I don't know if it's great or not.
Next week. It's
okay.
also the season finale of Barry next week. You have to watch that too, by the way. It's phenomenal.
I don't have to do anything. I watched Ozark, and you stopped watching the moment I started, so I'm not doing that again. I'm not taking any show advice from you.
Well, okay.
Never.
First of all, I've seen every single episode of Barry because they're only 30 minutes long, so I got that.
Doesn't matter.
Second of all, Ozark is a tour de force emotionally, and so I had to stop watching because it was too much to take. With the intention that I will continue to watch it, which I have. I'm in the middle of season 4.
Still haven't finished it yet. Okay.
No, I can't yet. Too much other stuff to watch.
If you're emotionally drained from what you've seen so far, don't finish it. Let's just say that.
I know. But I will end up finishing that show. I just, it just gets it. All right. Last thing on the docket today, besides the too much content conversation. I just had to laugh and bring this to your attention. I get this news feed, right? So we talk about where do we get our news from, and who controls what, and algorithm and all that stuff. And I got in my news feed on like Friday, Morbius meme, gets Morbius back in theaters. Maybe it wasn't a bomb anymore, because the original film bombed at the box office in comparison to other superhero films. It got bombed by critics, but then these memes started appearing, and they were so popular that Sony decided, hey, there you go. What is your Morbius name? That's the meme that was blew up social media.
Yeah, but it was something else, right? Wasn't it Power Rangers related? Like there's Morbius.
No, there's a bunch of them, right? There's a bunch of Morbius.
But I think specifically it was Morbius time that did it. That launched the whole thing. Okay. And it's actually a line that's not in the movie, but supposedly it was a line in the movie it's a lie. The meme was based on a lie, and it just propelled it it took a life of its own. Yeah.
And so Sony's like, wait a minute, maybe it just needed a little time, and now it's picked up, and because it's on streaming as well too, I think somewhere. So they were like, oh, put it back in theaters. Bombed again. Bombed again. So I got the email, I get my email of all my headlines on Friday, and it's like, Morbius gets back in theaters. 2 days later, Morbius bombs again.
That's not really true. It didn't bomb again. It's still a bomb. It didn't redeem itself.
I couldn't help but laugh.
Yeah, because why? Why did this happen? Didn't we just discuss this? Because social media is not reality.
I know.
Stop following social media. Stop thinking something is popular just because 20 people in Oregon really think it's cool, right?
I know.
What did I say before? If you have social media and you made arrangements to do something in Times Square, and you got 50,000 people to agree to go to Times Square with you, and you show up and you find out that like 40,000 of those 50 were in Berlin. They're not going to show up to Times. They're not getting on a plane to come to Times Square. Social media is a lie, and most of it is a lie, knowing it's a lie, and predicating itself as though it's a lie, that it's popular opinion, even when it knows it's not. Do
you know what's funny though? There's that brings up a few years ago where somebody put on their Facebook page, "Let's storm Area 51. They can't stop us all." Mm-hmm. And like a couple 100,000 people all were saying they were going, to the point where the military had to step in, and actually they're like, "We will shoot you on sight if you go, if you actually show up." And they had to have the guy cancel the event. Like they had visited his house. Like it was some real serious stuff.
And that's backwards for two reasons. A, because it's not real. The metrics aren't real. The numbers aren't real. It's not something that's going to happen. But B, if you're going to do something like that, don't tell them you're going to do something like that.
Well, he did it as a joke. He actually put it up there as a joke.
Storm a facility. That's the dumbest thing in the world. That's another reason.
Right.
Well,
he wasn't actually going to do it. He put it up as a joke, but then it went viral, as they say, and it became.
Yeah, but you can't. It's a fire. Do not play with the fire. Just don't believe the fire when it tells you to do things, and don't play with it.
Sony learned the snakes in the plane truth.
Years ago.
Social media.
Years ago. It was such a big deal. Snakes on a plane. No. Didn't turn into a big deal at the box office.
Not
it was
quite
a tepid
real.
hit, but it wasn't a giant hit.
Not quite real. All right.
No.
When we come back, we're going to go all up and down Top Gun 2 Maverick. We're going to truth or trash it. Did it live up to the trailer? When we come back. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and rogue matter. All right. One of the things that we've done before is one of my favorite segments. We take a movie after the fact and compare it to the trailer. Now, in this case, we only reacted to the movie last week, but it was spoiler free. So in a way, we're going to be able to kind of do a little bit of both, right? We're going to trailer truth it and trash it and see if it lived up to the initial trailer. Did the movie live up to it? But also want to just talk about the film itself because we didn't really get a chance to do that. I hadn't had a chance to watch it last week. Plus, we wanted to be spoiler free. I got to tell you, it's killing at the box office right now. And I know exactly why. It's killing at the box office because it is exactly the kind of thing we have not been getting in the last few years. Everything has been saturated in some sort of, in my opinion, in some sort of politics, in some sort of message, propaganda, this or that.
And this isn't. This has no politics propaganda in it, right? You're saying that?
I'm saying that it is a total distraction. It's a total opposite from what we've seen.
I know. I understand what you're saying, but you're saying there's no politics or propaganda in this movie.
I would sit there and tell you there's no politics in it.
There's no politics.
I can understand. I can understand if, it's pro military, but that's the kind of funny part, right?
That's politics, right?
It's not preaching, though. It's not preaching anything.
That wasn't the criteria, right? You said there's no politics in it. You said there's no politics or propaganda in it.
Yeah, but it's not making a political statement.
It's not.
Right.
You don't think it is?
I would say there's no politics in it. It's not making a political statement.
It's not making a political statement.
A
movie about the military destroying a military target is not a political statement.
Because you don't know who they're actually destroying against.
Doesn't matter.
They made it specifically that there is no enemy, that there is just quote unquote an enemy. So it would be different if they're like.
I just find it fascinating. You don't believe there's any politics in it.
What's that?
Okay, I find it fascinating. You don't believe there's any politics in it. Okay,
we talked about this offer. I could sit there and say propaganda. I can understand propaganda in the sense of like military might and a postcard for the Navy in that sense, right? I could absolutely see that being propaganda. I think it's the opposite propaganda that we see normally. So I think that's speaking to people. That's speaking to the public. But I could agree with you on that. The political statement, though, I don't see any political statements in this. I don't see any politics in this.
But if you're a pacifist, if your politics is passivity, then that's a political statement. Then dropping a bomb on something is a political statement. That's a difference of policy. If you feel that might make right, that's a political statement. Doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong.
You're grasping for straws then, just on the word politics, though. I mean,
I would say that everybody complaining that everything else is politics is grasping at straws.
Yeah, I disagree on that. I would think that you'd have to.
Do you believe that passivity or being a pacifist is a political belief? But
there's a sense of urgency. There's a bunch of uranium that's immediately there. That's going to be used to blow up stuff. We have to stop it. I mean, it's pretty clear cut.
Do you believe that passivity or someone who is anti-violence?
Yeah.
Do you believe that's a political belief of some people?
No, that's a personal belief.
You don't believe there's politics behind being anti-violent?
I don't think there's political statements on that. There can be, but I don't think that.
You don't believe there's no pacifist political statement at all that ever
exists. No. But okay, if you are a pacifist, you either are or not, right? You're either a pacifist or you're not a pacifist, right? You're
But those are politics, right? Those are politics.
No, that's a personal belief. It's not.
What do you think politics are?
Politics are when I use the word politics, I mean you're not actually going out there and giving a statement saying that you're
You don't
for
think
this or
someone
against this.
you
This
don't
was
think
pretty
someone
clear
who's
cut.
against
There was a
violence
sense of there was impending danger. We need to go do something, and we have to do this. There is no we should or we shouldn't, or they weren't even arguing about it. There was no arguments about it. It was just, this is what we have to do because this is going to result in the end of the world if we don't.
So the political belief of the film is that there's no such thing as pacifism.
No. Where do you get that from?
Because they don't even discuss it. They don't even talk about it as though it happens, right? That it's a thing. That there are people out there that don't believe.
If we're passive on it, that the uranium that they're producing is not going to be turned into a nuclear weapon and used to destroy one of our allies.
I mean, you're getting mixed up in something that's completely different. I'm going on. We're just going to clear this up before it turns into a furball.
Okay.
I'm going on the fact that you said there's no politics in the story at all in the film.
There's no political statements. Put it that way.
Political statement.
In your opinion, but I would say it was not core to the central message. There was no messaging.
I don't think you're paying attention to a lot of the chatter out there. It is not just my opinion.
Oh, I know. I see that, and I think that's exactly what I kind of laugh and I chuckle about.
We can argue about, the argument can be made whether it's an agreeable political statement or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, or whether it's a serious political statement or not. But to say that it's making no political statement at all is inaccurate. That's an inaccurate.
I would say the politics are not at the heart of the movie at all.
The movie is a political. All right, never mind.
No, but it's not. It's literally not. It is
it's
literally
you have any military movie is a political statement.
If you want to view it that way.
No. It is. Just like any movie about anti-military is a political statement. Anything that is a statement about something, about a way of life,
at what point do the characters argue this, though? At what point do the characters sit there and say, we need to, should we bomb them? Should we not bomb them? Is it right to bomb them? Is it wrong to bomb them? They're not having a discussion. There's no political discussion.
Yeah, but when is arguing politics mean it is political? Politics doesn't need to be argued to be political. Politics are politics.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to argue the validity of someone's political belief to have discussion about it. It just needs to be present.
If that's the case, then any move you make in any walks of life, military, non-military, there's politics everywhere we walk.
Yes. And
I actually disagree with that statement because most people are not actually thinking that the actions they are taking have any kind of political messaging. Or
it depends on what your definition, which I think is the heart of this problem. It depends on what your definition of politics are. I'm using the dictionary definition of politics. You're saying that there's no such
definition of politics,
huh?
What's the dictionary definition?
It's the politics is any prevailing ideology that you have, that you enforce or you live by.
Mm-hmm.
So what's a prevailing ideology of the military? That's a political lifestyle.
Yeah, but it's not I mean, I'm not watching this movie thinking about ideologies. I'm not thinking about.
You don't have to be. That's the nature. What
makes it so great.
That's the nature of propaganda, is that sometimes you'll get a political statement and not even know you've gotten one.
I did notice that after the film got out.
I'm not arguing the merits of the politics of the movie. I just think it's funny that you don't think that that a military movie has any politics in it at all. That's what I find is funny. That's very interesting. But anyway,
okay.
What do you think about the film?
Well, I think it's perfect for what we need right now, which is a distraction. It's just people who have where we have a goal, we have to do something. There's a dire consequence if we don't. There's challenges that come up. And let's go and get it. And it's just it knows when to be nostalgic. It knows when not to be nostalgic. It knows when to kind of update certain things and modernize things. But at no point, are the characters are simply, look, these are the best pilots in the world and they have a job to do. And that's refreshing. It's nice. It's nice not to have to walk out of the theater feeling bad about yourself or feeling bad about the world or feeling bad in general. And they do it in a way because they don't identify who the enemy is. And that actually is, to me, the reason this works. There is just an enemy. It just tells you, look, we're just setting up something so we can showcase how awesome pilots flying awesome maneuvers, getting into a mission. And that to me is like, okay, great. I don't have to think about this. So when you say there's no politics in it, or when I say there's no politics in it, if you choose to walk into that theater and then walk out of it, that's fine. That's on you. I don't think the movie's really trying
Who's
to
say that you can hate the politics? The argument isn't you go in there and I'm being bombarded by politics. That's not the argument. The argument is that there's no politics in this at all, and it's beautiful, because that's not correct. That's an inaccuracy.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying.
All right.
I don't care. I don't really have political foibles. I don't mind receiving or understanding a message that someone's trying to give me. It doesn't bother me. So I don't care about the politics, but I do identify what is politics and what is not politics.
Well, that was the funny thing, though. What I did read about it after, though, is that Hollywood is both, joyous that it's doing so well at the box office, but then cringing because it's pro-military.
It's politically military. It's a politics. It's jingoistic.
If you choose to think that, then yes.
It's not the movie is a jingoistic movie. It's not that's not a bad thing, but it is calling it what it is not misapplying some kind of hysteria on it.
I would never even think to walk out of there in anything except just, boy, that was.
Would you say it's a pro-American movie?
Yes, I would think it obviously is. It shines America in a good light. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. But I don't walk around being like, man, I'm glad they watched that movie because now I'm pro-American. They really were hammering home that America is this great place.
You don't think they
really
did?
Wasn't, it didn't deal with any of that stuff. It was never a question of should we do this mission or not do this mission. It was more like, here's a mission. We've got to accomplish this.
That's what confuses me. You think politics is the argument of one ideology versus another. You don't think that one prevailing ideology is actually politics. That's what's the disconnect.
Okay. Well, then there was no political arguing in there. There was no walking out of there.
That's a fair question. Nobody questioned any other point of view other than drop a bomb on it. So yes, you're absolutely right.
They're all in black though, man. They were, you couldn't see their faces, man. They're evil, clearly.
Yes, and the ideology of the movie is they're evil, so we drop a bomb on them.
Sometimes it's as clear as that. It's as clear as that.
Sometimes what's as clear as that?
I'm joking. That was a joke.
Okay.
It's a joke.
All
right. Here's the real question. Did it live up to the trailer? So we're going to do a little truth or trash. Top Gun 2, truth or trash. Very simple. We'll run the trailer. We'll take a look. Did it give you what you were expecting? All right, there's a desert. It's very calm right now. Oh. The airplane. Oh, we're going to see a lot of fighter jets.
We don't even know that's a fighter jet yet.
Yeah, you can sort of not blur
that. We don't know what that is. We have no idea what. Now we know it's a fighter jet.
All right, now we know. Definitely. Well, you know what my suspicion.
Now we're absolutely certain it's a fighter jet.
My suspicions were confirmed. Time to target. They basically ripped off. By the way, they ripped off the Star Wars. The closing sequence of the Death Star was essentially. My dad texted me that. I was like, yeah, you know what? They did. I still didn't care. I was so impressed with just the.
We're talking about the trailer though. Like, okay, so obviously there's something wrong with Maverick. The generals and the admirals and the brass still don't like Maverick. So that's
Maverick. Oh, he's
there's afterburners, and then there's Maverick in his cockpit, and now he's taking off. Push the throttle forward. There's a lot of forward throttle in the film.
Yeah.
Apparently.
This is all Tom Cruise.
That's a lie. It's not true. That's a jacket. That is trivia. That is the same jacket he wore in the first movie.
And I think it's the same bike.
I don't know if it's the same bike. I know that it's a trivia piece that he's actually wearing. Because Bruckheimer kept the jacket, so Bruckheimer donated the jacket for the movie.
And he's the exact same age he was.
All right, he's fighting. Okay, someone dies. There's a funeral.
He has not aged.
He's fighting other pilots. Now they're all flying somewhere together. I doubt it's to go to get a burger.
Yeah.
All right, and look, there is a Death Star trench. So there are Death Star trenching, and he's upside. He's inverted. He likes inversion. He likes.
Notice that that's his move, right? That's his go.
That's his thing. That's his thing, to be upside down.
Can you really do that with a plane?
Yes.
I guess you can, right?
Yes. It's called inverted. And there are aileron rolls. So yeah, that is a possibility. And that's F-14. For some reason. Strange. Strange that the F-14 is in the movie. and F-14s have been out of service, out of naval service, I think since 2002. We haven't used the F-14. So
Yeah.
I don't know why the F-14's in that trailer. That must be something. That'll be a thing.
Well, I think we were talking about this off air too, though, right? Like it's almost a tale of two movies. There's
Yes.
like 3/4 of the way. There's like you're basically getting Top Gun, and then all of a sudden you get like behind enemy lines, and it's like a whole, the whole other thing.
Yeah, it's very spoilery, but I mean, yeah, at the end they kind of tack on this this we must infiltrate base kind of thing, where we see more faceless villains.
Yes.
They actually land and they go on the base, and still all the villains have no faces.
That's the beauty of the movie. It doesn't let you think about it. It doesn't have you
yes, it allows the audience to place any villain that they want in the face of those villains.
Exactly.
That's a great thing.
I actually like that, because you're not going to walk out and sit there and say, "Oh, I can't believe they said this," or "I can't believe they did this." It's just there's an enemy. That's it. You don't have to think very hard. You just go.
Your guy doesn't like to get any messages in his paraphernalia, then, right? You don't want to read books for themes. You don't want to watch shows for underlying. You don't believe that there should be underlying themes in a film. You think everybody should have a goal, accomplish the goal, not argue about whether they should or shouldn't accomplish said goal. Get it done, come home, and then credits. That's what you think.
I think there's an oversaturation of messaging in movies and in TV shows.
And you think that's a new phenomenon. You don't think that ever used to be a thing.
I think the phenomenon of it being oversaturated is more prevalent. I think that if you watch the caliber of movie in like the 2000s, or the caliber of TV show, I think there's a stark difference in what you're seeing, both in settings of TV shows, in movies of TV shows, in TV shows and movies. I think that there's a lot more movies with specific messaging. That's not underlying either. I think it's more blatant. I think there's more blatant messaging in movies.
But you don't think there's overwhelming messaging in this movie?
No, I don't. I think they go out of their way to make sure that it's as neutral as possible. While yes, I understand anything where the military is not seen in a bad light.
I'm not even talking about a bad light. I'm just saying the military way of life is a message, right? The military might is a message. The utilization of coordinated might.
But the characters don't ever talk about that. The character and the core conflicts of the movie are never about that.
But the characters engage in it. They don't need to talk about it. They're doing it. They're living it. So why do they need to talk about it to make it something real?
Because then it becomes part of the storyline and part of the plot.
But what they do is part of the story and the plot.
Yeah, but they're not actually discussing. Like there's no character in there discussing whether or not they should do this or not.
Why is that not politics then? I don't understand why that is a criteria for whether it is or isn't political.
Because then the characters are not. You're not actually. I can repeat myself, but you can't. You just won't accept the answer. Like I just think that if it's part of the core of the movie.
I keep asking you a question. You're never answering the question.
Answer it every single time. The characters don't discuss it, so it's not there as a question for us as an audience to have to address. If you choose to want to address it on your own, that's fine. But there's never a point where one of the characters is like, "Boy, should we be doing this?" It's no, we need to do this. That's what it comes down to. Now, again, if you want to take that outside of what is given to you in the film and have a political discussion in your mind outside of that, that's fine. But that's not a core point for any of the characters. Right?
No, right. But sure. We'll stop it there. That's not right.
You mean the characters do discuss it then, and it becomes part of the plot line of whether or not they should or shouldn't do this then. Because I didn't see that in the movie.
Well, there's a plot line of whether they can or can't do it.
Right, but that has nothing to do with should or shouldn't. That has to do with the technical aspect.
Should or shouldn't has nothing to do with politics, though.
But absolutely does. If you're deciding whether or not your ideology should be pacifism versus aggression, then that becomes the political argument of the movie and the messaging of the movie. And then the way the hero decides to do something is ultimately what the writer's decision is for what the ideology should be.
Okay.
But that doesn't ever happen in the movie.
Okay. So you're saying you can have a political belief, but it doesn't become a political belief unless someone questions your political belief.
You can have personal beliefs about
personal
things.
beliefs can be. We've already established that personal beliefs can be are basically your personal politics, are politics in general, right?
But your personal politics are different though than like politics in general at large.
But
right?
You're saying that something is not political unless someone questions the policy of it.
I'm saying that within the film, they are not having the politics, quote unquote, are not being addressed in it, so that because there are no politics being addressed by the characters. It's not a core to the central plot of the movie. The plot of the movie is no one's questioning it.
I know.
They understand it. They agree with it. So you're not actually having a political debate or discussion within the confines of the movie.
You're kind of moving the goalposts, because all I said.
You always say that, but I'm just basically
because you said there were no politics in the film. I'm just saying, how is it that there are no politics in the film? That's all I'm saying. To move the goalpost to, well, they don't discuss it, so you're not getting a message, so therefore it's not political. That's a completely different thing that we're talking about, and this is where we always get into these furballs that get that get out of hand. So you're misunderstanding what I'm saying, which is fine, and so we'll leave it there.
All right. What do you guys think? Did it live up to the trailer? Oh, by the way, are we truth and trashing it?
It's trash because it said 2020.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's trash because the movie is way better than the trailer. That trailer was weak sauce. Oh my god.
I know, because it was only a teaser.
I don't know. It said official trailer.
I know, but if you go in and you do the second trailer is like 2 minutes. That movie was like that trailer was like half a minute, or maybe like a minute 10.
Google
like the real trailer is like 2 minutes.
Official trailer. That's the one that comes up.
It's fine.
That's it.
But I remember that was the teaser. That wasn't the trailer. Maybe. I remember that being the teaser.
Either.
Huh?
It didn't come out in 2020.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it's a lie.
Do you think the movie's set in 2020 though?
Probably.
Yeah.
So all this already happened.
Universe 2020, right?
I'm sorry?
An alternate universe 2020.
Probably happened in 2019 because nobody in the movie was wearing a mask.
Yeah, probably. All right. What did you guys think? What did you think of Top Gun? What did you think of the trailer versus the movie? We will comment in the Facebook feed, and we'll get back to you as well. When we come back, we put a bow on tonight's episode. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. All right, just tons of show, tons of stuff. We had a great time doing all this stuff. Check out Rogue Matter. Time Trader number 4 drops again. Badass Babes, the next episode of that, and our show comes out. So you gotta love it. Every Wednesday, free stuff. RogueMatter.com, or download the app on iOS and Android. What are we doing? Are we doing Jurassic Park next week? It's just too much stuff coming out. Too much.
I'm supposed to see it tomorrow, so I don't know.
Can I take my 6-year-old son? You have to tell me after you see it.
Not based on the trailers I've seen.
Yeah, I know.
Talk truth or trash about the trailers, then no, I don't think you should.
All right.
And then you could look online, but I mean, we've established that online is is the voice of nothing. So basically, you have to see for yourself.
Yeah. Now, you got to let me know, because he's into dinosaurs. The first one he could watch, right? The first Jurassic Park. Like, I think that's pretty.
I guess so, unless he likes severed arms. Unless he's disturbed about people being eaten.
I think he'll power through it.
Huh?
I think he'll power through it.
All right, there's several people are eaten in the first movie as well. You got a dinosaur, you're gonna get people eaten, and someone is ripped in half in the second movie.
What do you think? 8, 10
for the age limit, restriction. It depends. If he's a precocious 10, then sure.
Yeah,
you can show him Shakespeare, but I don't know.
There's severed arms in Shakespeare.
There's severed everything in Shakespeare. Everything.
Shakespeare was a badass.
Shakespeare is horror in modern parlance. It's horror literature. There's severed heads, and arms and legs and tons and people being baked into pies. I mean, it's pretty
Is that
gnarly
Hansel and
stuff.
Gretel?
No.
Hmm.
Titus Andronicus, the two people get baked into a pie and then fed to their father.
South Park did it better. Next week, we've also got Seal of Fire, episode 2, and issue 2, or installment number 2. It's an ebook from the great James Masia. Really, not just because we published the book, but it's getting a lot of chatter internally about how good it is. Bevan, the host of the podcast, was like, "This is really good." She was really, she was on board. She was reading it. She goes, "This is really engaging." People start dropping out of the sky in 1950s North Carolina. Russians think it's something to do with a new weapon that the United States has created. The United States thinks it's something to do with Russia, but the truth is something far greater. Wonderful cover, too, by the way, by the Lord of the Radio himself here.
It's all right. It's okay.
So, we will talk more about Seal of Fire next week. We'll talk about more content. Maybe we'll talk Jurassic Park. I don't know. We will see you guys next week. Hi guys, Mike Dolce here from the Rogue Wav podcast. If you like this video, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It really helps us out. Leave a comment, let us know what you'd like to see in future episodes, and tune in every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, for a brand new episode of the Rogue Wav.